Hey everybody, today Rahdo runs through Queen's Architect, which is a game all about players who are vying to become the Queen's Architect by hiring a motley crew of fine artisans and traveling all around the countryside, going to different towns and cities to do basic construction jobs. Because the more we do, the more the Queen is impressed, and if we impress her enough on her progress track, we'll be the Queen's Architect. Hooray! So, let's just jump right into it. I've already got the game set up here as a two-player game. I'm the green player. Jen is the blue player. And at the beginning of the game, everybody starts with 2 Queen's bonds. Bonds from the Queen, which are worth $2 a pop, although we have to trade them in at a moneylender. And we randomly set up a whole bunch of these little townships all over the map that show that in this town over here, to be able to build one of these buildings, we need to have a glass blower, a seamstress, a blacksmith, and an engraver. We need those 4 particular artisans, or else we can't build these particular buildings. This little tiny town over here, we just need a seamstress or fabric worker and a stone worker to be able to build in this town. Although you can earn a lot less prestige in this town than, say, this town. The more artisans you have, the more prestige you can get, and we're trying to get that prestige. So these chips were randomly set up. You can see there's a whole bunch more, so every time you play, you get a different arrangement. And also these seals on the Queen's track up here. To be able to move from a nobody that the Queen doesn't care about to level 1, I need to earn 7 prestige. And then to go to level 2, I need to earn 8 prestige, and then 8, and then 5. So it's a quick jump there. And these are randomly set up as well. So every time you play, you might get a game where you need a lot of prestige early and not much late, or a bunch at the end and not at the beginning, etc., etc. And again, there's some more prestige tokens that didn't make it in. And then also, here's the actual craftsmen, and the higher up this little chart we go, the more skillful they are, but of course the more money they cost to hire. Now before we get going, there are 4 more craftsmen who are out here. They were just drawn randomly from the start of the deck. And we are now going to draft them. And since I'm the first player, I get first pick. I can hire for free this blacksmith, this seamstress, this glass blower, or glass craftsman, or this wood worker. All right. And I'm going to get to take one, and then Jen, as the second player, she'll get to take one, and then we do a reverse. So then Jen will take another, and then I'll take one. So in a 2-player game, player 1, player 2, player 2, player 1. And so, which one do I want? You know what? I'm not even going to think about this too terribly much. I'm going to go ahead and grab this blacksmith, because you'll notice there are no blacksmiths out. And there will be some coming eventually, but heck, for all I know, this might be the only blacksmith we get for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guy. Now, at the beginning of the game, he is fully rested, fully ready to go. And so that means this is the action space I put into my little craftsman star here. I don't know what you'd actually call this. What do they call it? They call it the action star. So I'm going to put this, and I can put him in any slot. It doesn't really matter. But the important thing is you see that right now, this represents he's ready to go. And if he were to work right now, he would generate 2 prestige. Or 2 points of prestige in the job he worked on. And, but the interesting thing is, after he works, he's going to rotate like this. And then the next time he does a job, this is kind of like his warm-up job. He's not going to produce much prestige. But then the next job he does, he's going to produce 5. And then the next job he does after that, he's going to kind of slum it a little bit. But then he'll produce 4. And then after that, he's going to slum it some more. He'll produce 1. And then the last job he will ever do for me, you can see, he'll produce a 3. And then that little arrow means after he does that job, he's gone. So this is a really interesting guy. He goes through a lot of highs and lows but at the beginning, the first job he's going to do for me is not going to be very good. He's got to, get his feet wet. And so now I've taken one. It's the only blacksmith in the game. Now Jen gets to take 2 of these characters, and then I'll take whichever one she doesn't have. And so now, like I said, there are different towns all over the place that have different needs. Like this town over here that's right next to the palace where we start. You need the purple, the seamstress, and the orange, which is engraver type, and the gray, which is stone. So it's not like that, Oh, okay. So, right. So there's this one needs a glass blower and a wood worker and an engraver. So if Jen were to grab the glass blower and the woodworker, she'd have 2/3 of what she needs in this town. And there's an engraver over here that only costs $3 to hire. So maybe grabbing both of these and then hiring this guy. Let's see. Or Oh, and actually, all the way down here at the other far end of the world, there's a glassblower and woodworker and a so actually that's a pretty nice combination. I think Jen's going to take these two guys and then leave me the purple. And Jen doesn't mind leaving it because hey, there's two other purples out here. So Jen will be able to pick this one up later. So Jen's going to take these two and put them in her star. Now, there's an extra little thing. But before we actually Jen takes hers, I should have mentioned one more thing. Like I said, when I took this guy, he started out ready to work, fully refreshed, at the top of his little, personal wheel, but he's not going to do very much work. Now, this is a special thing you can only do at the beginning of the game during this draft. When I take him, if I want, I can kind of exhaust him. I can rotate him 1 or 2 or 3. I can rotate him as much as I want, and for every one I rotate, I will start with $1 because at the beginning of the game, I don't have any money. So I think since he's going to start out in kind of a bad way, I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, you know what, why don't you go warm up a little bit? So he rotated, and now that means when he's ready to work, he's going to produce 5 prestige instead of 2. And because I worked him a little bit, I just made $1. No doubt I just had him do some local work wherever we are up here at the palace. And so that kind of got him ready. I made a little bit of money off it. And I could rotate him some more to get more money, but I like him at the 5. So anyway, I forgot to do that. Now, Jen, she's going to take these two. They come in at the, and now this glassblower is ready to kick butt, is already ready to produce a 6. And this woodworker is ready to produce a 3. Now, Jen will definitely, I think, work the woodworker at least once because it's a 3-3. Might as well do it to get $1. It's kind of a bummer to work this glass because 6 is really high. That's as good as it gets. But Jen could work this guy twice. 1, 2, and then he's at a 5. So it's still not too terribly bad. And Jen will have 2 more bucks. So what the heck? She'll go with that. So Jen's starting out with $3 because I think the first thing Jen's going to want to do is she's going to want to hire this guy, and currently he costs $3. And once she has this guy, Jen can zip over here and start working in this town. Okay, so and now I get the last one. I get this seamstress, and so I take her, and she's at full. But you know what? I guess I'll go ahead and work her once, so that she goes from a 1 to a 3. And so I made $2. So that's it. We're each starting with 2 workers. I'm starting with $2. Jen's starting with 3, and now we are ready to start competing to become the Queen's Architect. So I'm the first player. I've got this first player marker, as you can see, a big old hammer. And this never gets used for anything. It's just to keep track who was the first player. So at the end of the game, you make sure you complete the round. Okay, now it's my turn. On your turn, you use this little rondelle. Everybody has the exact same rondelle on their action star. And like pretty much all rondelles, you move clockwise to choose what action you're going to do. And there are 6 actions on here. You can do some day labor, which means just make some money. You can hire more employees from the track. You can go to the moneylender and convert these bonds into more money, and we've got a little money. Players have this action star, and they have their own little personal board, this little tavern in place, and this is where the moneylender is. So I can go mess around with the moneylender. I can travel around the world. I can rest my employees. Remember how I twisted this guy? So he's exhausted himself once. I can go to the tavern and send him here to basically twist him counterclockwise so he gets ready. Later on, if I have him do some work and he goes from a 5 to a 2, I could have him rest so he goes back to the 5 so he can stay at top performance. So that's going to the tavern. And then the last one, the spot here at the top, is actually do work. When you're in a town where you can do some work, this is where you do it. Now, I always have to move, and you can move 1, 2, or 3 spaces. You can't stand still. I think for starters, I'm just going to move 1 space, and I'm going to do just some local work, some local pickup work to make some more money. Now, whenever you're doing local work, you don't have to twist because you're not going to work your guys very hard for this local job. And basically, each of your characters, and you might ultimately have 6 characters. For each character makes a $0.50. So I'm going to make $1 by having these 2 work. But now, I'm not done yet. You will notice the seamstress lady, or the lady working the loom, she has this little symbol here, which represents she is particularly good at day labor. You can see it's the same icon. If you send somebody to day labor, who has this icon, they're automatically going to make their $0.50. And if I had 3, it rounds up. So if I had 3 people, they'd actually make $2 for me. If I want to, I can rotate her again and activate this little icon here and make 2 additional bucks. So I already have $3, but if I rotate her again, I'll get 2 more bucks, and that's a big deal. But by the same token, I will pretty much exhaust her, and when I eventually put her to doing a real work in a town where I can earn prestige, she'll only make 1 prestige for me. So do I want to give up 2 prestige to make $2 right now? Well, I've already got $3, which is enough to hire somebody, and I haven't even thought about who I want to hire. I should really pay attention to that because it's a big decision if I'm going to rotate her again to get those $2 more. Let's see. So now I've got a blacksmith. I've got a black and a purple. Where could I go to do work with a black and purple? Ooh, wow! Look at this. This is perfect right here, right outside the palace. I need a black, purple, and a woodworker. Although the only woodworker I could hire right now costs $5, so he's pretty darn expensive. That's very expensive. So if I wanted, now that would make sense. If I want to, let's see. 2, and it's going to be 2, 3, 5. Yeah, that's not bad. No, that is pretty bad actually. I'm not really crazy about that. But just blowing $5 right from the get-go. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to make some money another way. I'm going to try and make. I'm not going to push her harder, which would get me $2. I'm going to stop right there. So I just did day labor. Everybody gets to do a $0.50, round it up, and so I made $2 more. So I've got $3 now. That was my first turn. That's your whole turn. You move on the Rondelle. You do whatever the action is. It's the next player's turn. This is a very fast-playing game. Now Jen, she is going to come over here on her star, and I think she is going to skip the day labor and go directly to hiring. Because Jen wants to make sure she gets the person she wants hired before, because what Jen wants, she wants to get this engraver guy here because it's the only one who's out and Jen needs him to work in this town. So Jen is going to hire him. Currently he's charging $3, so Jen is broke and is just going to come over here and hire him. Now, you'll notice, because he's in the 3 space, there's a little hammer icon here. That means when I hire him, he's at this level ready to work on this one. So we take him over here and we put him in the star. And so this is not the best time to hire him. It would have been better to hire him one step further because then he'd be ready to do 4 work instead of 1. So before we work this guy, we might want to send him to the tavern so he can rest, so he can jump up to level 4. But we'll worry about that later. Okay, so Jen just hired a guy. She's broke. She's done. Now it's my turn again. Now, I could go on ahead and hire, but I want to get some more money because, and I forgot. Because this area is emptied out, the people below move up like this. And you can see, so this glassblower is worth 3 now. And the interesting thing is, before the glassblower, if I paid 2 to hire them, they'd be at this level where they produce no prestige. Now that they cost 3 to hire, they're at this level where they cost 3 prestige. So the higher they go up the track, generally the better they are and the longer they can work for you. This one moves up, was going to be able to do 2 work. Now can do 3 prestige, and a new one comes out. And let's see what comes out here. Another stoneworker who is at the beginning of his career. He's ready to do 2 prestige of work. If you were to hire this guy, he'd be ready to do 2 prestige of work, and then he'd be done. He would only ever do 1 job for you. So it's not really, you're only paying $1, but you're only getting 1 job out of him. The higher up the track they are, the more work they can do before they retire. Now, you may have noticed I had this little glass stone here, or Jen makes these little generic markers we can use for various things. I put this didn't come with the game. We just put this here to remind us whenever I take this off to fill up a space, whenever you hire somebody, this guy, the top girl in this case, artisan in the world who is at the top level, would cost 6 to hire. But if you don't hire this person, every time we pass on hiring this person, they get a little more desperate for work. So it's dropped down to a 5. And that's why we just put this little stone here to remind us, hey, every time we pull somebody out of the stack, don't forget to move the cube up there, because it's really easy to forget that. And that can really mess things up, because it's very, very important, because now this top of the line person only costs $5 to hire and it becomes more attractive. All right, so anyway, that was Jen's turn. She hired somebody and then refilled up. And now Jen's got her full crew she needs to head over to this town where she will be able to do some work, because she's got the engraver, the woodsmith, or the woodworker, and the glassblower. Okay. But anyway, back to my turn. Now I can move 1, 2, 3 spaces. So I could hire somebody, but I don't want to do that. Remember, I want to hire, let's see, and actually Jen just changed stuff around. I forgot. Who did I want to hire? I wanted to hire the woodworker, who is still $5. What Jen didn't change anything. A new woodworker didn't come out. So I still need some more money. So I'm going to skip hiring anybody right now. I'm going to go 1, 2 and come over here to the money lenders. Now, When I activate the moneylender, I look over here. This is the little section where the moneylender is. At the beginning of the game, the moneylenders of the land don't really trust us. They don't have much confidence in us. So even though I walk in and I'm carrying 2 Queen's bonds, each one of these is worth $2, and I basically come to the money changer to convert these into $2. But at the beginning of the game, oops, this should be over here, he will only convert one of my bonds because he doesn't trust me yet. So anyway, I've come here, I have a choice. I can either convert one of my bonds to get 2 more bucks, or I can choose to talk to him and convince him how great I am to increase his confidence in me. And that means the next time I come to him, I can, in one action, do 2 bonds instead of 1. So it's more efficient to get him to like me, because then for the rest of the game, because you'll be earning a lot more of these bonds over the course of the game, and when you come trade those bonds in, you want to be able to do a bunch at once. You can ultimately get up to where he loves you, and he'll take on 4 bonds at once. But I'm not going to do any of that right now. I'm just going to leave him as it is, and I'm just going to trade this in to get 2 bonds. Or am I? 1, 2. Yeah, I'm going to. I'm just going to go ahead. So I get 2 more bucks, and now I got 5 simoleons. Alrighty. Okay, now it is Jen's turn again. She could also come here and do this, but she's going to move on ahead. Oh, let's see. So she jumps there. Yeah, okay, Jen is going to do this as well because Jen needs some money. Jen just, spent all her cash. So she's going to trade in one of her bonds to get $2 as well because she's going to need this to go to the pub in a second. All right. Oh, yeah. No, okay, yeah. So Jen just traded in a bond the same as I did. Okay, now back to me. So I can move. I can send somebody to rest at the tavern, or I can start doing work. Now, up here at the palace at the beginning of the game, there's no work to be done, so there's no reason to do work here. Remember, I want to move down here because this is my ultimate goal after I've got my woodworker. So I will go on ahead and I will just move here. Now, the amount, you can move along one road for free. You can see there's a little chart up here. Moving 1 road is free. Moving 2 roads costs 1. Moving 6 roads costs 15. So, you can go a long ways in one movement, but it costs you more and more money. As it happens, I don't mind. I'm just going to move right over here, which is 1 road, so that didn't cost me anything because I'm saving my money to hire that woodworker going around the circle. Okay, then it's Jen's turn. Now, she could move. Yeah, she's going to do the same. She's going to move, and she doesn't have any money to spend. If she... Yeah, actually, Jen does have money to spend. Remember, Jen just made $2. Jen is going to spend one of her $2 so that she can move 2 spaces. 1, 2. So she has made it. She had to travel further. It had to cost her money, but she's made it to the town where she wants to work. This is a race. This game is all about going as fast as you can because the first player to make it all the way to the top and actually generate 15 prestige at the palace wins the game. So anyway, so Jen made a move. Now it's my turn again. Now I could send somebody to the tavern to rest, but if I do that, that's not really going to benefit me. If this guy rests, he goes from a 5 to a 2. If she rests, she goes from a 3 to a 1. So I don't want either of them to rest. So I am going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm back to the day laborer. I didn't work because I don't have my workforce yet. Now, I could have worked. I could have just gone 1, 2, and instead of actually building a building here, I could just do local repairs. To actually build a building and score a lot of prestige, I need to have all 3 of these guys. I don't have my woodworker yet. But if I want to, I could have just done repairs. You don't need to have the perfect arrangement of workers to do repairs. And if I'd done repairs, what would I have gotten? I would have gotten 2, 3, 4. This symbol here tells you how many prestige they earn if they're doing repairs instead of building. So I could have earned 4 prestige. Remember, I need 7 prestige to make it over this hump. So that's not going to get me over the first level. So that wasn't good enough. That's why, even though I could have done some repairs, I'm going 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do some more day labor, which is going to get me another $1. Because, they both did $half worth of work. All right, so now I've got $6. All right, and now it's Jen's turn again. She is going to come over here to the tavern. And remember, Jen had 1 more $1. She's going to spend it. For $1, you can send 1 of your artisans or one of your craftsmen to the pub. And so we've got this little marker. I'm sorry, not one of them, but 1 class, 1 color. If, say, Jen had multiple glass blowers, she could send both of them for $1. So the game actively kind of encourages you to double up and have multiples of the same color because it's more efficient to send them to the tavern. But as it is, Jen's got 3 different colors. So for her $1, she can only send this guy, or this guy. Jen is going to spend $1 to send this guy. No, which one was it? Yeah, this guy. Because this guy, he came in at a level where he is only going to do 1 point of prestige work, but now that he gets to rest, he gets to go counterclockwise, and he's all rested up, and he gets to do 4 prestige worth of work. And now, to mark that Jen did this, she paid her $1. She takes the little chit that represents, it's the same color as him, and moves it up here. Now that means this guy cannot go back to the tavern until 2 turns from now. Because the next time Jen goes to the tavern, this guy will move over here, and then the next time Jen goes to the tavern, he'll come back out. So, characters can basically only visit a tavern every other time you go to the tavern. So, but anyway, Jen got good use out of it because he's now ready to produce 4. This glass worker is ready to produce 5, and this woodworker is ready to produce 3. So that's actually a pretty good team. Jen's pretty happy with that. Although, she's completely broke again. So anyway, that was her turn. Now it's my turn again. Finally! After my second go around the Rondelle, I'm going to hire the guy I wanted to hire all this time. And it was the woodworker I need to be able to do the work in this town. So I'm going to take him. And remember, so I got to pay $5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which leaves me only $1 change. I'm going to take him, and you have to make note of where since he's at this level, he's here, and he's coming in ready to do not very good, only 2 work. So we'll put him here on the star. Okay, and even if I rested him 1 more, he'd still only do 2. He doesn't do better work. He doesn't do better work until he gets down here. Until he's done some work. He's only doing average work. Then he kind of goes into a slump, but then he finally produces his masterwork of level 3, and then the last job, he's back to 1. So he's really kind of a crappy artisan. He never produces very well. But that's because when he does repairs, he generates 3 points, and he can do day labor as well and earn extra money. So, he's better. He's not good for the big jobs. He's better for the little jobs. But still, I needed him to be able to do this job here in town. Right, okay. So, I hired a guy. Now it's Jen's turn again. And now Jen is finally, she's just going to take 1 step. She's going to do a job in the town she is in. Now remember, this town required, you can have any workers you want, but you cannot build unless you've got the stated ones here. So Jen needed a glassblower, a woodworker, and an engraver, which she has. And even if, say, Jen had a seamstress who she doesn't need, all of your characters on the wheel will all work. They will all contribute to the building you're about to build. And so if Jen had the seamstress, she'd have +5. But as it is, she only has these 3 characters. Now, so they're all going to contribute. They produce 5 + 4 is 9 + 3 is 12. They are going to produce 12 prestige. And after we do that, we rotate them clockwise. Because they've done a job, they're going to be a little bit more tired. So now they're not producing as much. But Jen just generated 12 prestige. Okay. And so they're all done. Now, Jen takes one of her little cubes here to indicate you can only build in a city or in a town once. Jen's the first here, so she gets no negative. Which means the queen was impressed by 12 points for the build. If I ever come into this town and try to build, I'll have to fill up this spot, so no matter how much prestige I generate, it'll be 2 less because the queen is less impressed by subsequent builds. So we are also in a race to be the first to build in town so we can get more points. So I didn't suffer any penalty. Jen didn't suffer any penalty, but if I ever come here, I'll suffer a penalty. So Jen made a total of 12, minus nothing, and she's marked this space. And so now we come over here and we can see that, hey, to move up 1 level requires 7. And so that's 7 minus 12. She's got 5 left. Unfortunately, she needs 8 more to get to the next level. So, and you have to do it all at once. She can't bank 5 of the prestige and then get 3 more later. She has to have 8 right now. And she doesn't have it. So that's pretty much it. That's as far as she can go. What happens to the other 5 prestige? Since it wasn't enough to get her over the top, the other 5 prestige comes in the form of 5 Queen's Bonds, which is worth $10. That's a lot of money. 3, 4, 5. So Jen's got a lot of money in bonds, but it's very slow going. Oops, I knocked my little guy over here. To come and trade them in only once per. So it might make sense for Jen on the next time around her Rondelle to stop at the moneylender maybe a few times to get this bumped up so that when Jen visits the moneylender, she could trade in 3 of these or even 4 of these. But that's going to take her a while. And while she's doing that, that means she's not actually building. But Jen has successfully built. She's made it up, and she's got whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more steps to go. And you can see the next step is a big one. It's an 8, and then another 8. But then the next step is a 5. So there's a lot of planning to go into. But anyway, so that was that. That was Jen's turn. She's finally built. And now it's my turn. And, well, I can keep going on the Rondelle. I could go to the moneylender again, trade in my other bond so I can get some more cash. I don't want to move. I'm already where I've arrived. I could rest my people. And let's see, 1, 2, 3. So I could do those. And so on the turn after that, I could finally do some labor. Now, if I look at the town I'm in, the maximum prestige I could ever earn here is 15. What am I get? If I worked right now, what would I get? I'd get 8, 9, 10. I'd only get 10. Now, I want to, if I can, earn that 15 prestige. Because actually, 15 prestige would be great. Because I would just be able to jump, boom, boom, right up here to the next level. So that would be absolutely awesome. But that means I need to generate 5 more prestige out of these people. And, these are not the best. Well, this guy's pretty good. He's at a 5. But, if I rest her or work her, she's going to go down to 1. This one stays at 2 for quite a while. I'd have to work this person to the bone until they get to their 3. Maybe before I do my work, I want to hire somebody else. Maybe somebody... Oh, whoops, I forgot. When I hired, again, I forgot. All these people slid up. Darn. And another one comes out. And we got to remember to drop... Now, this person up here is only costs $4. That is an incredible steal. And the next time... the next time we hire somebody, if we don't hire this person, they're just going to leave in disgust and never come back. So now is a good time to hire this person at only $4. Plus, if I hire him, that's 6 points. That will get me above and beyond the prestige I want. So can I get $4 before Jen can? I can if I'm in a hurry. So actually, you know what? I think I'm going to visit the moneylender again, and once again, I'm going to get rid of my other bond, get 2 more bucks. All right, and now it's Jen's turn again. And now she's got all these bonds and no money. What is she going to do? I think she's just going to go 1, 2, 3 and come down here to the bondsman, not to trade any of these in for money, but to increase so that this bondsman will like her more. And, all right, so that's that. Now it's my turn again. I'm going to go... Do I want to... No, I don't want to send anybody to the tavern. I don't want to move. I could do that. That's interesting. I see. So I can go 1, 2, 3. I don't want to move, so I'm going to skip that. I don't want to go to the tavern because that won't actually improve any of these people. So I'm going to come over here. Now, I could do some work. Now remember, I could do the work here, but I don't want to do the job right now because I won't generate my 15 points I'm trying to generate. I'll only generate 10, which is not bad, but I want to generate 15 so I can leapfrog over Jen. So remember, I mentioned you can actually build, which requires this thing, or you can do repairs. And remember, I've got this guy who's really good at doing repairs. And if I have him do some repairs so he rotates 1, it's not like it's going to hurt his abilities. He's still going to generate 2. In the meantime, he'll give me 3 prestige points for doing repairs. So I'm going to jump up here. I'm going to do some repairs. Now, when you do repairs, you don't have to be limited by what the town wants. Anybody can work on repairs. And I could have 1, 2, or all 3 of my people do repairs right now. But if I have her do repairs, she'll drop to a 1. If I have him do repairs, he'll drop to a 2. So I'm just going to have this person by himself do some local repairs. So he stayed at the same prestige level, but when you do repairs, this is what he earned. He just earned me 3 prestige. 3 prestige is not enough to get me over this, but it's enough to give me 3 bonds. So that's $6 if I can trade them in over time. So I just did some repairs. Now it's Jen's turn again. She will... Right. Now, so she could move... She could go to the tavern. Well, but she has no money. She wants to get to a point where she can start converting these bonds into cash. Now, if she just goes 1, 2, 3 and does some repairs in the town she's in, she could do, let's see, it'd be 2. This guy doesn't do anything. He doesn't do repairs at all. So Jen could make herself 4, but she already has too many bonds. She doesn't want 4 more bonds. And doing repairs won't get her the 8. So what is she going to do instead? I think she's just going to go 1 because it's time for her to move on to another town. And so what town does she want to go to next? Let's see. If she could get a blacksmith, she could do work in this town or this town. But no blacksmiths have come out. There are 3 blacksmiths somewhere, so blacksmith will eventually come out. But so far, I've got the only blacksmith in town. So neither of these towns are good for Jen. But if she gets a stoneworker, she could do work in this city, which is nice. If you do work in a city, you also get a bonus, as mentioned. In this case, you get 1 extra prestige. So maybe she wants to head over to that city, since the other 2 places around her require blacksmiths. Down here requires a purple, a seamstress. Let's see. I think she will start heading over to this town. So she's moving. She'll only move one. Remember, before she paid a buck to be able to move two. Now she will only move one. And that was her turn. And now it's my turn again. And I am just going to do some more day labor. And so I've got 3 people. So that is half a buck rounded up means I just made $2. And I've got the $5. Oh, actually, right. So, and I only need 4. So that was that. Now it's Jen's turn again. She will go 1, 2, 3. And she will also get $2 by doing day labor. And does she want to push anybody? Actually, oh, none of these people can do day labor, so she can't push them to do additional work. Okay. And now, boom, I've come down here. I'm going to hire, and I'm going to hire this person. I got to it before Jen did. It comes in at a 6, really ready to rock. And so it's interesting. I've got 2 seamstresses now, and it only cost me $4. 3, 4. So I even have a little bit of change. And now this resets. This guy, this stoneworker, now moves. It costs $6, but he's more, professional. Everybody slides down. Let me put a new one out. All right. Where are the blacksmiths? I bet you all the blacksmiths are lumped up at the very, very bottom. It's crazy. Okay. So that was my turn, and now I am ready to do the biggest job the countryside has ever seen. And meanwhile, back over here at Jen, does she want to hire somebody? She's got $2, so she could hire either of these guys. That's not particularly interesting. Jen's just going to go 1, 2, and now she could trade in 2 bonds at the money lender to make $4, or, well, in fact, she's just going to keep pushing this. That's all she's doing. So next time she comes around, she could do 3 at once. So she's spent some time doing this, but she's got herself to where she can turn bonds into a lot of money very quick. But it's taken her time to do this. So that was her move. And now it's my turn again. And I'd like to get straight to work with my new super troop, but I can't. I can only go 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be one more turn before I can get there. So what am I going to do? I think I'll come down here, and I'll just trade in another one of my bonds I got and get 2 more bucks. And it's Jen's turn, and so she will keep on moving. So she has now finally made it over to the town, her target town. And what does she want? All right, and she needs either $3 or $5 to hire one of these stone workers so that she can do work in this town. And this guy would come in only generating 1, whereas this guy would come in generating 3. Neither of them are. Well, this guy, he can ultimately get up to a 5, but he would need 1, 2, 3 rests before he get up to top performance. All right, so anyway, that was Jen's turn. My turn, 1, 2, 3. I'm finally going to do my first build. All right, now when you do a build in a town, everybody works, whether you need them to or not. So that is 7, 8, 9, 10 plus 6 is 16. I'm the first person to build here, so I don't suffer. Now the max is 15. So unfortunately, I was overskilled, so one of those points is lost, but I still just earned 15. And now I could here goes 7 of it. Now I could take the other 8 in bonds, but instead I'm going to take the other 8 in leapfrogging over Jen. All right, so I have pulled into the lead, and now all these people rotate. That was my big job. And now, if I were to have them work again, they would generate, although I can't, you can only build, I can never build another building here. I can repair stuff in here, but I can never build another building. Now they have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, they definitely need to break. These folks, they need to go to the tavern and rest up a bit so I can get them back into full form before I move on to the next town and keep them working. And so then it's Jen's turn, and she doesn't quite have enough money to hire, but pretty soon she's going to hire somebody, she's going to do another big job, and we are going to continue racing to be the Queen's Architect. And if you'd like to watch a little bit more, you can hit the button that's on screen or follow the show notes, go to extended playthrough, or you can go to extended. Either way, hit the little eye up in the top right corner of the screen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.